Here in Key West, we were out before it was in. In this open and inclusive paradise, you can be yourself, make new friends, and savor our live and let live vibe. With LGBTQ plus friendly accommodations, our legendary nightlife, and year-round activities and events, it's always a good time to come as you are. Key West, close to perfect, far from normal.
Tyler Reddick here from 2311 Racing. Another checkered flag for the books. Time to celebrate with Chumba. Jump in at ChumbaCasino.com. Let's Chumba.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See T&Cs. 21 plus. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
He's an old head.
Youngins are really starting to get on my damn nerves.
He's a purveyor of nonsense. He's a Georgia high school coaching job influencer. His favorite Bible verse is, Jesus wept. He's the man of constant sorrow, Chris Lamb.
Yeah.
Sun Coaches is proud to partner with Titan Sports for the next 4 seasons on Sun Coaches podcast. Titan GPS delivers technological superiority and improved player performance through wearable GPS made for high school football and strength and conditioning. From speed training to athlete recruit to workload enhancement, Titan is the easy-to-use yet comprehensive GPS tool to get it done. There's no minimum to get started, and Titan will walk you through every step to success. Message us on X at Titan Sensor to learn more and get in touch.
Sun Coaches Podcast, Season 4, and today we've got one of the legends of Georgia Southern, one of the last of the hard, retired from public schools. He's now the head coach at Stratford Academy, Coach Paul Carroll. Thanks for being on with us.
I appreciate you having me. I really do.
Well, Coach, legendary high school player at Hardaway High School. And who was your high school coach?
John Drew. John Drew actually was my high school coach, and my linebacker coach was Leo Ellaby.
So when you were coming up in Columbus, didn't you weren't you and Jeremy Williams and Dale McGee, weren't y'all all in the same, I know y'all didn't go to the same school, but y'all were in the same era, right?
Yeah, we were. And actually, me and Jeremy grew up together, started playing baseball and football and all that together probably when we started at 7 years old. His dad and my dad were actually the coaches on the baseball team and the football team. And we all ended up playing over at Edgewood for Coach John Pate. And I ended up going to Hardaway, and Jeremy ended up, and Dale ended up going to Kendrick. And to be honest with you, I was living in Kendrick's district and probably should have went to Kendrick. It was either Kendrick or Carver, because I lived on the south side of town. And then, back then you had recruiting, and you still have recruiting going on.
Right. That hasn't changed. It's just the exposure.
No doubt. You're exactly right.
That's something me and DT always talk about. He's like, my daddy played at LaGrange at Troop back in the 50s, and they were recruiting back then. It hadn't changed. You just have internet now.
You're exactly right. You got these phones and internet and so forth, but it was a good time. I mean, me and Jeremy had some good ball moments together, and actually when we were at Edgewood, I think we had at least 7 to 8 guys on that team that went and played football in college.
So you just didn't play football in high school though, right?
No. I played baseball and I wrestled.
Yeah, back then everybody did a little bit of everything. You didn't have these one sport majors like you do these days.
Well, I thought I was going to be one of those, baseball players that was going to go to college and have a chance to play. But when you only bat not even 300 in high school, that's not real good. And I think that's the only people that offered me to go play was CVCC to play baseball, and I didn't get any football offers. So, but I decided to play football instead.
Well, considering you knocked the taste out of somebody's mouth, I think you did the right thing. So you went to Georgia Southern, correct?
I did. I went to Georgia Southern and stayed there as long as I could. I enjoyed the years at Georgia Southern. I think I was there probably I wasn't one of those guys that would probably go sit in the classroom all day, to be honest with you. I wouldn't, what do they call it? A straight A student, I guess you would say. But but he ended up graduating, ended up getting my master's degree, and I had a good time there at Georgia Southern.
Well, there was a bunch of y'all that played that went on coaching, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was. You had Isaac Farrell, you had Nick Davis, you had Scott Chafin, Danny Britt. You had all those guys, and right now, most of them are all head coaches somewhere right now, winning a lot of ball games.
Franklin was with y'all?
Franklin Stevens, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember watching y'all play. I was one of the sit up in the stands and vaguely look out over the field when I was coherent enough to see what was going on. And y'all watch y'all get after it before the dean of students politely asked me to leave and never come back. But I played a little bit way too much when I was down there and didn't really do the school thing. But so you knew you were going to be a coach all along, or did you go to school to do something else?
No, I knew right off the bat that I was going to either play the game for a long time or I was going to coach it. And being 5'11", 200 pounds and run a 4.9 40, I knew I wasn't going to be playing it too long. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So decided to go the coaching route, and it's kind of in my family. I mean, not the coaching, but the playing. My real dad was an All-American running back at Elon College, and he actually still holds the record up there. I think he does. He had 298 yards rushing in one game, and just decided to stick with it. I knew it wasn't, but I consider myself a decent coach as far as knowing football. And I'm not saying that to be cocky, but that's about the only thing I know is football.
Right. So what was your first job out of college?
First job was Tifton with Coach Winsley.
Papa Wins.
Yeah, Papa Win. I tell you, we had a heck of a coaching staff. We had, Mike West was there. Glanton was there, Tim Glanton, Charles Anthony, Coach Barton, Scott Chapin. If I'm not mistaken, I think out of the 12 or 15 coaches that we had on staff, there was probably about 20 to 30 state or national championship rings that the guys had, and had an opportunity to learn a lot of football from those guys, and a lot of fun times. I'm telling you, we made that run, in '97, and went to the state championship. Parkview beat us, and I think we went to Valdosta. Valdosta beat us pretty good. And we had so many issues here and there as far as with some players, some coaches getting in trouble and stuff like that. So I think Mike West decided to, from here on out, we're going to enjoy each other. We're going to enjoy football. So every night we'd have a little gathering after practice, just the coaches. And we'd cook out, we'd have a couple of drinks, and we'd do it again the next day. We had to do it every day, because every single time we won a ball game, that was our ritual, I guess you would say.
So how long were you down at Tifton?
I was there 2 years. And after that, left and went to Thomas County Central with Coach Pilcher.
Legend.
Yes.
Another legend. I'm sorry, I meant another legend.
Yes, and I had an awesome time down there. I stayed there 2 years. To be honest with you, if I was married at the time, I probably would have stayed at Thomas County. That's just an awesome place now. Thomasville is a good little town. At the time, I was single, and I was driving up and down the road, going to see my ex-wife, I guess you'd say. But if I had a family and stuff like that, I probably would have stayed there the rest of my career.
Well, I know this podcast, this interview is about you, but I don't take time to talk about Coach Pilcher a little bit. I lived with Milt Miller's son at Georgia Southern, Matt. You know, Milt and Coach Pilcher were big buddies. And
Right.
I got to meet all of those guys and they kind of adopted us. And I remember one year being at the clinic, and me and Kevin Stevenson were kind of just hanging around the bubble, and Coach Pilcher waved us over there. And we ended up staying at the table with him and Milt and George Spencer and Roger Holmes. I mean, just all these legends. And Coach Pilcher was like, Chris, why don't y'all, you younger guys, like hang out with us? And I was like, because you're Ed Pilcher? Because you won 9,000 games and we're just little Rudy Poos and we're morons and act like idiots when we come to clean. He's like, no, man, we're just regular guys. And he was. He was just a regular guy.
Yes.
You know, he just wanted to be one of the guys. I mean, now he worked piss out of you, but he was just a regular dude.
I'm telling you, that was one of the things when I went down there, I said, you know, how they went, because they didn't have, you know, as you call them, 5 stars now. They didn't have any of those 5-star guys. They had a trigger man, don't get me wrong, and they had a couple fullbacks. But I'm going to tell you, the mental toughness he put those kids through, unreal. I mean, and when we stepped in, I stepped in that first day in the weight room, and they were doing 40 stations. And I still try to do it now. You know, it's hard to do it with these youngins nowadays. You know that. But I still try to take that mental toughness that he did as a coach and just see what we can do with it. But it was unreal the way he got those kids to play hard.
So where'd you roll to after Thomas County Central?
Went with Devo.
Okay.
Up in Griffin.
All right. Well, that rolls into what he said when I talked to him the other day. He said he had better football athletes at Griffin, but he said when he went to Cairo, the kids were better football players. That kind of piggybacks off of what you just said about Thomas County Central kids, that they were just South Georgia kids a little different.
They are. And
not necessarily better, just different.
It's just different. I mean, that's about all they can get into, I think. You know, times have changed, don't get me wrong, but, you know, when I was down there, that's all they thought about was football.
And there ain't nothing in Thomasville. It ain't like there's a mall.
No, and then you had Oclotney, and you had Pavo, and you had other little places that those kids came from, and all they knew was football. That was it.
So you went to the big city up and coached linebackers with Devo to start off with.
I did. Went up there and coached linebackers, and
y'all had a staff too.
Yeah, we did. Had old. I don't know if you remember old Ricky Herzog. Mm-hmm. He's an older coach. He was with Boots Donnelly, if I'm not mistaken, up at Middle Tennessee at one time. And heck, I don't know where he's at now, to be honest with you, Coach Herzog. One of the stories he told me, he said that he said, Coach, you know you get it bad when you know, I like kind of putting a little money on some football games here and there. And he said, but when I'm at halftime and I'm starting to look at my sheet and they start announcing the Alabama Georgia game, the Auburn Mississippi game, and I'm losing, I'm mad because I'm losing.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Yeah, and I said, oh, okay, I got you.
Losing focus a little bit.
There ain't no doubt.
Or you have a different focus. So how different were things at Griffin? Like, because you were at Tifton and Devo was younger. I mean, y'all were basically contemporaries, and you went from working. Working.
Me and Devo knew each other in high school, and I know he was over at Robert E. Lee, and I met Devo because my best friend in high school, his cousin played at Robert E. Lee, Bubba Longrear. So I ended up meeting Devo when he was in high school. And we'd ride up to Robert E. Lee and kind of go out at night and stuff like that with them at times, because it wasn't probably about 35, 40 minutes, from Columbus. And then we went to Devo, hired me, and everybody said, man, it's going to be tough there at Griffin. It's going to be tough. I'm going to tell you what, those kids at Griffin, they worked their tails off in that weight room now. I think it was 5 or 6 weight room classes and never had any issues whatsoever. Those kids would come in, they work their tails off. Heck, I got this one from Coach Bob Griff, who was at Effingham. I did my student teaching under him.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
Another legend.
And I know his rule was if you didn't dress out for weight training, what you had to do was walk the whole time with a 45-pound plate right outside the weight room. And I kind of did that at Griffin too. Didn't have any issues whatsoever. Kids didn't dress out. They got out there, they walked with a 45-pound plate the whole period.
That cures it.
Yo, it does. They're gonna dress out. They dressed out after that, I promise you.
Well, it's funny how a lot of places like that, where the outside perception of what kind of kids you got, and when you're the weight room coach or football coach, you're like, well, they don't cause us no problems, because they're doing what they like to do.
Well, like I tell teachers all the time, I understand it's a different environment. I don't know if I guarantee you I couldn't go in that classroom and teach them A squared plus B squared equals C squared. There's no way. But in the weight room, it's a different environment, and a lot of them want to be in there, and a lot of them will do what you ask them to do.
And they're doing something they're good at.
That's right. That's right.
People say, well, what'd you major in high school? Lunch and PE. That's the 2 things I was good at. It's not, most kids are like that. They're going to do, they'll be good at what they're good at.
Well, it's just like, everybody, well, you got a PE degree. Yeah, I got a PE degree, but I'm probably about 10 hours or 12 hours away from being a dang nurse.
Or a physical therapist.
With all those classes you had to take, anatomy, kinesiology, and all those things.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know how I got through them, but I did. I found a way.
So how long were you at Griffin with Devo in that bunch? Because y'all had some dudes there.
Yeah, we did. I coached one of the linebackers. He ended up going to Clemson, Darnell Clark. I stayed with Devo, if I'm not mistaken, it might have been 2 years or 1 year. I don't know, because that's when it was time for me to get back home. Coach Jones offered me the defense coordinator job at Northside Columbus. And it was an opportunity to get back home and start a whole brand new program as a defensive coordinator. And I'm telling you now, that was fun now. From the ground up, all the sports, I was the head golf coach, and I was the head wrestling coach and defensive coordinator. And it was a good time. All the coaches were on the same page.
Y'all opened that school, didn't you?
We did. We did.
I've always thought that'd be fun, I went to I went to Lakeside Evans, and the day it opened, I was a freshman.
Right.
So I went to a school I wanted to go to Evans, but I lived on the wrong side of Washington Road, so that didn't work out. So,
right.
If we lived on one side, you went to Lakeside, and if you lived on the other side, you went to Evans, and if you lived out in Harlem, you went to Harlem. And that was before there wasn't no Greenbrier, and there wasn't no Grovetown like there is now. That's just what there was. But I was like, well, I went to a school that started from the ground up. I wouldn't mind coaching at one brand new. I bet that was fun to do.
It was now. All the coaches, you know how it is nowadays. You got everybody wants to specialize in this, specialize in that. And they were doing it back then too, but the majority of the coaches that you had were football coaches that, they worked their tail off in football. And if they were in baseball, they were going to work their tail off in baseball too.
Right.
And we tried to make sure we kept all our kids involved with something. Like I think wrestling wise, I had like 35 wrestlers, and they were all football players. And it shoot, I'm telling you, it helped us out as far as later down the road, because we played I think for 2 years we played a JV schedule, and the last year of that JV schedule we did play one varsity game, and Coach Jones ended up scheduling Port St. Joe, and we made a road trip all the way down to Port St. Joe. We got on those Greyhound buses, we wore ties and suits, and we go in and eat a pregame meal at some little old place down there. And one of the ladies wanted to know where we were singing that night. She thought we was a dang choir. No joke now. Thought we were a choir.
They were so well behaved.
Yes. And they were so small. And they looked like you got to remember now, Northside Columbus was an engineering magnet. So, but we had some dang good kids on that team. And you know, it's, back then is all about developing the kids. And it's like that still in some places.
Well, I know he'll come up later, but Coach Lee Hamner was talking the other day about Coach Jones and the fact that we need 2 Hall of Fames in the state of Georgia. One for the obvious, congratulations, you won 200 games or 72 state championships or whatever. And then people for like Coach Jones who won a pile of games, but you talk about a great mechanic that took over some bad shops or started programs from the ground up. I mean, he's done it.
Yes.
He's won in places where no mortal man could go in and win, that's for sure.
No doubt. And I was at Georgia Southern at the time, but he ended up going to Hardaway too for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And actually turned that program around. And Superman too. Now, just good person. Take his shirt off his back and give it to you, and it's always been good to be there. Gave me an opportunity to be a defense coordinator, and then that's where I'm a head coach now, because I was able to learn under some guys like him, Devo, Coach Pilcher, Coach Winslet, Coach Way, folks like that.
So after you left, I mean, you were there for a while.
Yeah, I was there about either 5 or 6 years. And then Coach Jones ended up taking the job at McIntosh. So I ended up going with him up to McIntosh in Peachtree City.
A planned community.
Yes. And we actually felt like we had it turned around. At one time, we had some jokers. I'm telling you, they just played hard. And I remember, the second year, the first year, I think we went 0-10. The next year, we ended up getting rid of, probably 15 or 20 players. And it was just the ones that really didn't want to commit and buy in. And we played Sandy Creek, who's defending state champions. And I think we ended up beating them 10-3 the first game of the season. And then we had Westlake after that. We had some dang teams, and we got beat, I think, 21-20 in that game. I think we ended up winning 4 or 5 ball games that year, and then it was kind of time for us to move on.
And where did y'all go after that?
Actually, I ended up going to Jones County with Coach Jones again. And Coach Jones ended up staying a lot longer than I did. I stayed 1 year here in Jones County, and actually has kind of made my home kind of in the middle Georgia area. Gray, Georgia, a little bit of Macon, a little bit of Warner Robins also. And once I left there, Coach Winslet came to calling, because he ended up trying to do a second stint there at Greene County. And I ended up going up to Greene County with him to be his defensive coordinator. and do the weight room. I stayed up there 1 year. And then after that, I ended up getting the job with Coach Way at Warner Robins. And that first year at Warner Robins, I thought they was about to fire me, to be honest with you. Because when you go in at Warner Robins, you better be winning. I think we went 3-7 that first year. And I've always been a 4-3 guy defensively. And we started out in a 4-3 and just didn't have I felt like we didn't have the players that we needed to be able to run the 4-3. And, I say that and people probably laugh, but, that the outsiders will laugh at it because a lot of folks don't understand what you have unless you're in the situation. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And
they just see the name.
That's it. And that was back when Northside was making their runs every year. So we ended up going to a 3-5-3, and I hadn't got out of it since.
Well, talk about that Northside Warner Robins rivalry. We've heard some people talk about it from the Northside side, but that's something serious now.
Oh, it is.
That game right there, that's the closest thing to an Auburn, Alabama game you can get in high school football, in my opinion. I've been on the Northside end of it, and I've told people, I'm like, listen, if you're at Northside, you don't wear red. You don't have red solo cups at the coaches get-togethers when the wives get together. You don't have red cars. We don't even say that week is like, let's get a demon. I imagine on the Warner Robins side of it, it's the dead opposite. You don't have blue, and you don't. It's pretty neat.
I tell you, and I had the opportunity to experience a lot of that because it was like that with Thomas County and Thomasville.
Yeah.
Same way. And then it was Warner Robins in Northside. And I tell you that just, coaching in that type of environment.
Drew McIntyre here from WWE. Wielding the Claymore can be a life of chaos. When I'm not dominating in the ring, Chumba Casino is how this warrior takes a wee break. With hundreds of online social games and new weekly releases, there's always something fresh to try. And those daily boosts, next level. Even my free time feels like Valhalla. So when life feels like a battle, kick up your feet, have some fun, and let's Chumba.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See T's and C's. 21 plus. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
I mean, it's a state championship type coaching deal. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, you got, 10 to 20 something thousand there watching the ball game, and it's very electric, I guess you would say. And then the next one is this FPD Stratford is the same way. I mean, I'm experiencing that. You don't wear red at all. And,
you just don't.
No, you don't. If you do, somebody's gonna say something to you about it.
Well, and you got to coach for Coach Way, who's one of the best humans probably in our business, or that was in our business.
No doubt. I'll tell you a little story about him now. I'm gonna tell you, on Friday nights, Coach Way is a pistol now. He's fired up all the time. And they get a first down, he'd come down on the sideline and why are we running that? Why are we running that blitz? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? Well, it get heated at times on the sideline. And we're actually playing, I think it was Chattahoochee. After they won the state championship, they were defending champions, and I think it was in the second round. Well, they were averaging like 50-something points a game. We had to go up there. And I told the players, I said, guys, I need your help. Because the week before we played, I think it was Lakeside Evans, and we struggled a little bit what they were running offensively. I think we won, by a touchdown. That was it. It wasn't it was a very close game. Well, we're playing against Chattahoochee, and usually Coach Way don't come to the defensive meetings now. He's he lets you do what you got to do. And but that week he was in there a little bit, he said, what you think? We're going to be able to stop them? I said, Coach, I don't know. I mean, I really don't know if we're going to be able to. He said, well, we're going to have to now. I said, well, so I went and talked to the players. I said, guys, I need your help. I said, we've got to shut them down now. Well, then we started playing on the sideline. They get a first down. Well, I'm raising hell because they get a first down. He comes up to me and says, don't be raising hell at defense. They playing good. They playing good. I said, God damn, Coach, I ain't never heard that from you before. He said, no, you're fine. They're okay. And I think we ended up winning. It might have been 14-3 or something like that. And they were averaging 50-something points a game. But it was an adventure. Now we had some good seasons there, and I enjoyed coaching with Coach Way. And I still I talked to all those coaches that are still living. And I hate the fact that some of them are no longer with us now. And but we're still trying to coach the way those guys coached.
So is that when you left there? Is that when you got your first head coaching job?
Actually, when I left there, I ended up going to Howard with Coach Hester. Coach Hester hired me actually to be defensive coordinator, and he was there for 1 year, and then he got the AD's job in Bibb County. When he got the AD's job, I ended up just stepping in and taking the head job there, and was there for I guess 5-6 years, something like that.
Well, talk about what it was like when you finally got to sit in the big chair. I mean, we always think we're ready, and you did it for a long time before you took that jump. But are you really ready?
No, I don't think so. The biggest thing is what I always look at is you better make sure you get good people that surround you, and that's the thing. I mean, I got 2 coordinators. I was able to hire Coach Hamner over there to run the offense. I was able to hire Coach Travis Reese, to run the defense, and me and him kind of ran the defense together. And then I was just kind of able to just let him run it after that. And it's all about surrounding yourselves with good people. You got to have good folks as your coordinators and so forth. And we had a dang good coaching staff over there. And, had some good years, had some good players come through there. A lot of people say, well, that's probably pretty tough to go in there and teach over, in Bibb County or Howard. Well, not really. We had good kids, had good families, and they did everything we asked them to do. Had good support from the administration. I mean, heck, Dr. Smith, who was my principal the whole time there, she was wonderful. I mean, she supported us, and she would do anything we'd ask her to do. And we just kind of got in a situation where we lost a lot of kids when that COVID hit. Lost a lot of kids to the private sectors where I'm at now, to be honest.
So you finally get to retire.
I did. Got to retire. Got my 30 in. And now, I got a phone call once that happened, and now in the private sector and enjoying it now. It's everybody says when you go to a private school, people are always trying to tell you, what you got to do, this and that. And I'm going, no, not really. I mean, they don't. I mean, at some places they might, but where I'm at right now, they just expect you to come in and work and communicate with them and win ball games. Whereas it's no different when I was at Howard or anywhere else. Heck, my job is to make sure to get those kids ready to go. And it's been awesome now. And we had a pretty good season this past year. Not to where I want it to be. Like I told them, I said, our expectation is to win a state championship. It's not just to go 7-4 and get beat in the second round. It's to win that last ball game. And that's what we plan on work towards next year. When we get back from this Christmas break, we'll start right back up in the weight room again and start working towards next year.
Yeah, when I was at Early County and coaching baseball, we used to come up and play Stratford. They had a baseball thing that they did every year, and I coached football and baseball, but we'd come up there and play a little baseball tournament thing they'd have, and I enjoyed coming up there and getting to know those coaches and getting to know those kids, and they're great kids. And I mean, it was good for my kids because they were a bunch of old country, rural South Georgia kids. And
Right.
we'd come up there and it was nice. And, it was a good little road trip for us. And, it'd be us and Stratford and North Cobb Christian. And then there'd be somebody else would show up and play. And
what's so crazy is the fact that, and this is kind of funny right here now. We have more kids over at Stratford right now that can catch a ball and run with it more than we had at Howard.
How about that?
Yeah. I mean, we got more athletic type kids. Now, we don't have a whole lot of linemen or linebackers. Right now we're playing with two linebackers at about 140 pounds. And they will try to hit you, but you know how that goes.
Physics.
Yeah, somebody keeps leaning on you that weighs 250, 260, maybe even bigger than that. You're gonna struggle there in that fourth quarter. And I think that's what got us a little bit this past year.
Well, you talked earlier about learning how to develop them. So, I mean, you've got the pedigree and you're just going to keep developing them.
That's the only, you know how to develop them. Heck, you've been around a long time. You got to develop them in that weight room. And that's something that was our main deal is getting them in that weight room. And they've increased quite a bit on their maxes and so forth. And feeling like they can compete. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And that's half the battle right there. Those kids know they can go out there and win a football game, even though you're weighing about 140, 150 pounds at a linebacker.
Well, 30 plus years in the business, what are some things over the years that have changed in the game and with coaches and everything else, good, bad, or indifferent, that you've seen, things you like or things that you're just shaking your head about, or just anything that you've noticed that you're like, man, this is good, and things that you're like, this ain't good at all?
Well, I got to say the main one is not good at all is the freaking tackling. It's absolutely ridiculous as far as I understand the safety of the game. I do, but you're trying to. We try to teach the proper technique of tackling. We do all the time, but I kind of go back and look at guys like myself. The only reason why I was able to get on the field at Georgia Southern is what you said earlier. Every single snap, I just tried to hit somebody as hard as I could. And that's gone. That's out of the game. There's guys that can do that, but heck, they get in college now, they're going to be ejected, for hitting somebody as hard as they can. And
well, hell, Coach, when Gunner got hit the other week, people were crying and whining about targeting. I said, no, that was not targeting. That was somebody trying to separate the guy from football. That was a freaking clean hit.
That's right.
I was like, that to me, that ain't no. He didn't lead with his head. He wasn't going in there. I said he was trying to knock the piss out of him, and he did. And Correct. He got up and kept going. I mean, that's football. You can't take that out of the game.
No, and they're trying to, and that's what you sit there and you preach to your guys, be physical, and the main things that, and me being a defensive coach, this too. What's the main thing that you're going to do that you go into a game plan is disrupt that quarterback. You want to hit the quarterback. The way the game has got now, it's all about the quarterback.
You can't touch him.
Correct. And that's one of the negatives that I have. I just, and you sit here and you go, well, he's got to be able to put his shoulder in here, this area, hey, it's full speed. There's guys out there that aren't athletic enough to be able to change their body in a certain position to be able to hit somebody the right way every single time.
Well, Coach,
it's a contact sport.
Oh, yeah. Some of the things I notice, and I know they can't, it's not about intent, but a lot of times, especially in the college and pro game, you see a guy, and when that defensive guy is running as fast as these kids move now, because they're faster than you were.
There ain't no doubt.
And when those jokers leave their feet and they're running through the guy and they're getting their hat across and they're trying to bite the ball and they're clubbing up, they're doing all the things that we teach. When that joker commits to make that play, the ball carrier's body is in a totally different position than it is once they make contact. And it creates what appears to be targeting. But when the kid left his feet or left the ground to go make the play, you know what I'm saying? It's not.
Yep.
He wasn't initially, it wasn't targeting when he started the act of tackling. The ball carrier turned it into.
Tyler Reddick here from 2311 Racing. Another checkered flag for the books. Time to celebrate with Chumba. Jump in at ChumbaCasino.com. Let's Chumba.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See T&Cs. 21 plus. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
Targeting because he changed the angle of his body.
That's right.
Or that running back that ducks his head and he initiates targeting. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he can butt his head all he wants to. or the quarterback that becomes a runner.
Correct.
What are you supposed to do? He's sliding. Well, he wasn't sliding when I left my feet, but because he slid, now he's on my head level. Well, of course I'm going to hit him in the face.
Exactly.
I would have hit him in the stomach if he would have been standing up.
Yep. I don't know. And I know, man, I hope this rule doesn't pass. I know they have been talking about walk-ons and so forth and, for college and all that. And I hope I hope they do not come back and say, we're not going to allow walk-ons. That's going to be awful. I mean, I don't know if you heard any of that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That would be bad for the game. I mean,
yes. I mean, because there's guys that I know that should be playing in the NFL right now, but they're not in the NFL because they were 1 inch. They didn't have the height, they didn't have the speed, but they are dang good football players. And I think that's what the game is getting out of. All they're wanting is guys that can go out there in their pajamas and run a 40 time and jump this high and do this and that, but he ain't worth a crap as a football player. And I'll say this, where I'm at right now coaching, it's old school football. And, we don't have any 5 stars, none of that. Now, if we get one, I'll coach him now. Don't get me wrong.
You'll take them.
There ain't no doubt. But, you're able to coach those kids hard, too, now. The parents allow us to do it. And those are the things I just saw that, that have changed a lot. And the money in NIL and all this and that. And transfer portal, I think it's awful. The loyalty's not there anymore. I talked to somebody the other day and I told him, I said, Georgia Southern used to be a place where it was all about, I'm wanting to be a Georgia Southern Eagle. That's where I want to be. Now it's a place where I want to go there and then in another year I might transfer because I'm going to go show out and then I might get an opportunity to go to Alabama or Georgia or Auburn or somewhere like that. It's the JUCO school.
Right.
That's what it's becoming. That's what a lot of these smaller colleges, the smaller D1 schools are becoming. And
what are some things at the high school level that you've seen from a coaching standpoint that's just changed over the years?
Yes, I mean it's more than anything. I'm gonna be straight honest with you. What I see is we got too many coaches that want to baby kids too much. And, I believe in giving, I believe in building relationships. Don't get me wrong. I do. But then 2, I mean, you got to, I really don't know how to say this. You got to be nonstop on these kids. These kids got other things some of them that can get involved in. It's not good things they can get involved in.
Right. You got to stay on that head.
There ain't no doubt. No doubt. And I think some coaches, heck, I've been at some practices before, whereas if it's the best athlete, well, guess what? He ain't even practicing. He's just standing over there in the corner. He's not doing the work that everybody else on the team's doing. We're just going to get the best athletes and get them on the field and see what we can do. And that's what I see a lot of times right now with the younger coaches. I know that didn't happen at Warner Robins when I was there with Coach Way. Because I'll say this, we practiced, it was full speed tackle to the ground every day. Every day. It was like that at Thomas County Central. It was actually like that at Tifton. Nowadays, you don't hardly see that. And even with us at Stratford right now, we don't have probably, 40 players. We don't have a whole lot of depth. And I hate to say it, I've gotten soft in my days too. Heck, you're just trying to get them to the ball games on Friday night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was talking to Devo the other day about it, and somebody, I had Chris Kelly from Glasgow County on the other day, and he was talking about how the kids are not as tough as they used to be. And he said, when the referee comes to you before the game and wants to know if you got anybody with a cast, he just starts laughing. He's like, kids ain't going to play with a cast no more. Now, I might have one with a cast, but he ain't playing.
Well, I'll say this. I had 4 play this year.
Well, there you go.
With a cast. Now, I don't know if they would have played last year, but they played this year. Yeah. I mean,
just look at them and say, we're going to pad it up. You're going to play. And they look at you crazy.
No doubt. And they did. And
they were fine.
And they were fine. Shoot. And the parents, heck, I had parents actually call me up and say, Coach, he's going to play. We're going to pad him up. Heck, I had one kid that we didn't know it until after he done rushed for 120, 140 yards in 2 games. He had a broken leg.
Good Lord have mercy.
Yeah, had a broken leg. And he just kept saying, Coach, my leg's okay. It's just kind of sore right now. And we ended up going to get x-rays on it. And this was after he done rushed for over 100-something yards in 2 games. I said, Lord, have mercy.
Well, that's what Devo said when y'all got to Griffin, that was what he was going to do, was make it tough. He said, Coach, we went full pads every day, even on Thursdays. Yep,
sure did. And that's what's gotten out of the game is the toughness part. And I don't know if it's going to get back. I don't think it will.
I think you see more injuries because of the way we do stuff now. You get more concussions now than there ever been.
Correct.
Because you got to get used to getting hit.
Yep.
You can't just, practice for an hour and 15 minutes of contact. You can't have but 40 minutes of contact a week. And then it's kind of like the heat rule to me. The wet bulb only works Monday through Thursday. On Friday nights at 7:30, we don't care what the wet bulb says.
Correct.
There's just going to be more people to watch this child have a heat stroke.
And then you got so many folks now that's getting into becoming trainers, and those trainers now are really worried about more than anything lawsuits. And they tend to not do what they're supposed to do. And their job is to make sure they're trying to get that kid back on the field. But a lot of them don't do that nowadays.
Well, how about the personal trainers, the street committee guys these days that are coaching kids? How you feel about those guys these days? That's something new. That's something different.
Okay. Only thing I have ran into it a little bit, and actually, this is a pretty funny story right here. I had a kid that had his own trainer, and he was a DB, defensive back, and the kid was working on nothing but backpedaling. That's all he was doing, working on footwork, backpedaling. I don't know. He might have been working on ball drills too. Well, his mother came to me and wanted to meet with me one day in the office. And I said, yeah, that's fine. And it was dealing with playing time or something like that. I can't exactly remember why she wanted to meet with me. She made a comment that, Coach, why don't y'all do any backpedaling? Everybody does backpedaling at DB, and y'all don't do backpedaling. I said, no, ma'am, we don't teach backpedaling because, we're cocked and we do our skate shuffle. She said, well, that's crazy. You need to be backpedaling. Nobody does that anymore. I said, ma'am, you ever watch Coach Saban's defense? They don't do a whole lot of backpedaling in that corner. Yeah. But
mama telling you how to coach.
Yeah, mama. And the travel ball, this travel, 707, kids need to have a break. They need a little bit of a break from football. And, they don't need to play football year round. They don't need to play baseball year round. They don't need to play basketball year round. And, growing up, we played, when it was football season, it was football season. When it was baseball, it was baseball. And that's what we got to get back to. I just don't think we're going to be able to do it.
Let kids be kids.
Yeah. You got to have off season. Your body's got to be able to recover a little bit. And that off season, I think I told one of my parents before, and she was a kicker for me in high school. And she was a heck of a kicker. And she ended up going, she was always injured though she was a soccer player. She ended up going to Kennesaw State and signed a scholarship up there. And, but she played tons of travel soccer. She was always injured. And I told her, Daddy, it's because she don't have any time off. When she goes to college, she's going to have some time off because they're not going to let her play anything else but soccer. And she's going to be in the weight room. And she's going to have an off season to let her body recover. It is crazy the way it is nowadays.
What do we know? We just have advanced degrees in kinesiology. And
Correct.
We don't have a clue. We're just PE teachers.
No, we don't.
So you're going to keep doing it as long as you can keep doing it, I would imagine.
Yes. I told somebody asked me that the other day, how much longer you got? Well, I've got as long as I can get out and run around with the kids. And if I can still run to the football with them to make sure they're at the football, then I'm going to keep doing it. Once I get to the point where I can't run anymore, I can't get out there and get after it like I need to as a coach, then it's going to be time for me to probably step it down.
Well, I hope that time is way far in the future because, as I introduced you, you are definitely one of the last of the hard. You coached the game like you played the game. For those that didn't get to watch you play, it was fun to watch, a definite throwback. And when I say he would knock your face off, you heard him say it. It ain't bragging if you can do it. That's what the man did.
Well, I tried. I had more missed tackles than anything.
Well, it wasn't lack of effort.
No, it wasn't that. It wasn't that at all.
But I'm so glad to have gotten to know you over the years and friends with you, and I'm so glad you came on with us. And I know y'all are going to do great things at Stratford, and you're going to get that thing up to the level of your expectation and what you want it to be. And I appreciate you coming on with us, Coach.
Well, I appreciate you having me, and go Eagles.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Tyler Reddick here from 2311 Racing. Victory Lane? Yeah, it's even better with Chumba by my side. Race to ChumbaCasino.com. Let's Chumba.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See T&Cs. 21 plus. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
When you manage procurement for multiple facilities, every order matters. But when it's for a hospital system, they matter even more. Grainger gets it and knows there's no time for managing multiple suppliers and no room for shipping delays. That's why Grainger offers millions of products in fast, dependable delivery, so you can keep your facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.